Evening, everybody. Welcome to JPR. It's season 8, round 3, and we're in Abu Dhabi, and I can hear myself in the background. Give me a sec. There we go. Don't need to be listening to myself. I'm already speaking to myself, so I don't need to be listening to myself. Remember, new format of qualifying for this season is just the single qualifying session, so no full quali. Very important to get out there and get your laps in. Evening, Staffy. We have 2 cars out on track. That is Staffy and Heno. I have no idea what my controller's doing. A few more cars now coming out on track. The second Williams. So now both Williams out on track, Pompoen and Staffy. Nuclear Monkey, Dan Ritveldt, all on outlaps. Staffy getting out of shape there on the outside of the curbs, lucky just an outlap. Just coming to terms with the circuit. Oh, there we go. Glad I'm not speaking to myself. Thanks for that. So far, no times. All the cars you see out on track or on an outlap. Conboy choosing to do his first run on a set of intermediates. Always some interesting strategies happening in the background. I have no idea why my controller is doing this, and I don't like it. But every time a driver goes over the curbs, my controller vibrates. But I don't think that's supposed to happen. Pompoen has retired from the session. We didn't see what happened there, but he has retired from the session without setting a lap time. That means he will start right from the back. We're riding with his teammate now. We ride now with Sophie on board the Williams. And this is the tight, twisty bit that's so important. If you don't get it right, it just messes up your run through this next couple of corners. And you can see Safi just backed out of that one. And now all of those drivers are on fast laps. So we're gonna see some lap times coming up shortly. Dan Ritveldt, he's going through on his first time lap of the evening, and he just went purple in sector 2. Definitely one of the candidates here for the top 5. In fact, a lot of these guys are quick enough to be in the top 5, so difficult to predict. If you have any predictions for pole position time and who's going to get it, let me know. Dan Ritveldt goes fastest for the night, 1:23.9. Nuclear Monkey currently 3rd. AD goes 2nd, 1:24.2. And time's coming in thick and fast now. Buffelsfontein went fastest briefly with a 1:23.3, immediately beaten by Cheddar. That is a 22. 1 second covers first and second. We're riding with Quinton, yet to set a lap time. In the Aston Martin. Will he give us an Alonso performance, or will he give us a Stroll performance? I'm sure he's hoping not to have the latter. Into this hairpin. You arrive at this hairpin just so much faster now than you used to. Obviously, used to be a chicane there. It'd slow you down into that corner. Now, they push the grandstand a little back. And they've turned it into a DRS straight. Let's see what the Aston Martin driver is capable of doing now. He's going to go over the line and... ooh, I think he may have just been impeded there a little bit. He's getting too close to the horse. That would have desettled that lap. Let's go through the drivers that have set a lap time. Currently Cheddar, provisional pole, 1:22.3. Next fastest lap is Quinton, 22.9. Then we have Shane on another 22.9. Biffelsfontein, 23.3. And then a bit of a drop. Dan Ritfeld, 23.9. 80 in P6. Top Gun, P7. Nuclear Monkey, 8. MJ in 9th, Heno P10, and Conboy's lap time is obviously not representative. That lap time set on a set of intermediates. Let's look who's doing a fast lap. Seems like Shakes is on a fast lap, and if that purple is correct, I think he's just gone fastest in sector 2. Let's see now, sector 3. It's got some tight twisty bits in it. You can get sector 1 and 2 spot on, but if you don't get this right, you're not going to get the lap time you want. Goes just inside. Hope he didn't get invalidated there. He doesn't get invalidated. He goes P2. It's a 22.8. But for the time being, Cheddar in a league of his own. We ride now with Biffelsfontein in the Mercedes. Seem to be going very slowly over the line, so I guess he backed out of that lap. Staffy looking for his first lap time of the evening. "16 drivers in the field. It's going to be a busy turn 1. 9.5 laps to go. 9.5 minutes to go. And still 4 drivers yet to set a lap time. Make that 3 because Pampun has either left the session or DNF'd. Top 5 currently still Cheddar, Shakes, Quinton, Shane and Biffelsfontein. Dan Ritfeld down to 6, 87. Top Gun 8, Nuclear Monkey 9 and MJ 10. Both Ferraris, both Alpines in the top 10. Here is the fastest man on the night so far. Fastest lap time of 1:22.3. It's going slowly now, just on an outlap, winding up for another go. Obviously a fresh set of tyres. Can he improve? Can he find 3/10 and shock everyone with a high 21? That would be... I think I may be pushing it a bit. 1:21? Not quite. We'll ride for a lap with your provisional pole sitter so far, 1:22.3. winding up for another lap, just going slowly there through sector 2, and here we go, final corner over the line to start his second run of the night. The first one quite incredible, a 122.3, looking for more time. We'll follow his times here through sector 1, see what's coming up so far. Sector 1, he's under his lap time, not by much, just 500ths of a second, but he is down on his lap time. Let's see what he can do in sector 2. Activates DRS and heads down the incredibly long straight. This is where the chicane used to be. Now just a long straight down towards a hairpin, and then that's a really tricky bit. Got to get that through that chicane as effectively as possible and get good traction on the exit. Otherwise the seriously long straight that follows it, it's not going to be taken full advantage of. Still riding with Cheddar. Just a few corners to go on this lap. We want to see if he can improve on this 22.3. Ooh, and that was a glitch. I thought he had run wide, but that seems to have been a glitch. Let's see what he can do. He's going to go over the line. Going through the final corner now. And he's 4/10 slower than his original lap time. Obviously that lap just got away from him. He was definitely in it in sector 1. Riding with 80, who's currently in P6. Pushed Dan Ritfeld down into P7. Staffy has retired from the session. Seems to be a common Williams strategy. Not quite sure what that's about, but let's start from the back, say the Williams team. That is taking a challenge to a new level. This is Conboy, currently P8 in the top McLaren so far. Here's the other McLaren, Nuclear Monkey P11 25.0. If he wants to get himself into P10, he's going to have to find half a second. Thanks to everyone who's joined us for the stream, everyone who's watching. There's not a lot of you right now, but these videos certainly get most of their views during the week after the race. So if you're joining us live or if you're joining us later, thanks for joining us. And obviously, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe and leave a like. Cheddar comes into the pits after that failed attempt to better that lap. We're riding with Quinton, currently P3, 122.9. And this must be a fast lap because his ERS is very finished. He does go quicker in sector 3, but fails to improve on that time. Top Gun making up the top 10. Currently a 124.5. Some really big gaps here in the field, because if Top Gun does want to improve to P9, it's going to have to find 6/10 of a second. Some really big gaps in the field tonight. Three and a half minutes to go. Half your field out on track, the other half sitting in the pits. Abu Dhabi is one of those circuits, Yas Marina is one of those circuits that you really need to pay attention on that final run in qualifying. Pay attention to the circuit, look where the cars are before you go out. The last thing you want is traffic in Abu Dhabi, because your lap time will most definitely be affected. We're riding with MJ in the second Ferrari tonight, currently P14. Still looking for an improvement. Who else is out on track? Fontaine. P5, looking for something better. Fourth place is not that far off. In fact, second place is not that far off. So it wouldn't take a big improvement and he could put himself on the front row. Really just needs to find himself 2/10 and he'll be on the front row. So close lap times at the front. P2, P3, P4 covered by 1/10 of a second. Obviously last night was the finale of the V-League season. And in qualifying in that race, we had a field of 18 covered by 1 second. 1 second off the pace was good enough for last. Not a lot of action out on track right now. Some cars out on outlaps. Ooh, and MJ getting out of shape there. I think he was just letting some drivers go. Cheddar back out on circuit. He wants to improve on that lap time. Does he know he can get a 121? Rub salt into the wounds of the other drivers taking part tonight. Massive gap there for pole position, half a second. We're riding with Shakes. He's looking to get himself onto pole, but like we said, he's going to have to find himself minimum of half a second. Ooh, out of shape there on the final corner, and the Red Bull does exactly the same thing. So desperate to get onto the power for that straight, and sometimes you get just a little greedy, go a little too early, and the back steps out, and your heart falls into your stomach for just a second. Go back to Shakes. I believe this is a fast lap. See what he can do. He's now entering sector 2. We didn't see his sector 1 time. Still seems to be committed to this lap. Let's have a look if we can see his sector 2 time. Get an idea of where this lap is going. He's going to have to find half a second. He's a 1/10 slower than his previous best in sector 2. Really going to have to do something special here in the final sector of the race. Quinton also out on track, as is Shane. Shane now also in the final stages of his lap. Shakes was able to... Was he? No, he's still on a 122.8. Shane goes over the line and he does improve. He gets past all the 122.8s. There's 3 of them. He goes 122.7. It's good enough for second place. Who can still change things? Quinton definitely can still change things. He's out on track, currently P5, going around sector 3. Final corner, let's see if Quinton can elevate himself up the grid. Currently P5, and he does. P3, 122.8 again. Fantastic end to a qualifying session there. Remember, no formation lap. After this, we go straight into the race. So your results: Cheddar P1, 122.3, great lap time. Then Shane P2, Quinton P3, followed by Shakes, Buffelsfontein, Boy, Destroyer, 80, Tan Rietveld, Top Gun, that's your top 10. Then just outside the top 10, we've got Nuclear Monkey P11, Heno P12, MJ P13. And we have the 2 Williams of Staffy and Pampun in 14 and 15. And no lap time set from Apmagozi. Good evening, Ulrich. Welcome to the stream. It was great to see the guys supporting on track. Really close times there, up in the top 5. So here we go, we're looking at the pit lane like usual. Guys doing their final touch-ups to their strategy, final adjustments. What tyre do they start on? What fuel levels are they going to gamble with? If you decide to go for the hard compound and get an early safety car, can really mess up your strategy. Sometimes the better option is to start on a soft compound, and when that early safety car comes, it's the first thing you get rid of. MJ has left the session just before the race start. Ooh, I don't know if he's going to be able to come back from that, but it is 5 red lights. Hopefully no problems like we had yesterday. No, everyone underway, no drive-throughs. Obviously yesterday in the League v League we had 6 drive-throughs off the start line. Ooh, and immediately we have a Red Bull going backwards. That is Shane. Right to the back of the field. He might have damage. He went into the back of that wall. Rear wing first. And we have a virtual safety car. Let's just have a look there at the back of the field. What is the state of that Red Bull? Is there damage? If there is damage, it's nothing visible from spectator mode anyway. Maybe there is a little bit of rear wing damage. He did go backwards into a wall. Real bad luck there at the start of the race. Obviously the sprint race will determine your starting order for the main race. Just 10 laps. I'm talking about tyre strategies, and it's a sprint race. That's fantastic. Obviously the tyre you start on, you can finish. There is no need to use both compounds in a sprint race, so you can finish the race on the set you started on. Let's have a look what guys have gambled with. What's the most popular tyre? And as you can see there, medium's the most popular compound. I have Pampun on a set of hards. He's at the back of the field, not quite at the back of the field, he's in P12. And now going down the order. That's right, Shane and Buffelsfontein, as well as Pampun, Quinton and Shakes. 5 of the quicker drivers on circuit find themselves all in the pits at the end of lap 2. Not the way they would have started. Now they are going to be quite adrift from the rest of the field. They will be hoping for a safety car to bring them back into this race. But for the time being, they're going to be having a race of their own there at the back. Quinton, Pampun, Shane and Buffelsfontein, 17 seconds adrift from the next man in the order. We ride with Convoy, currently P2, AD currently P3, having a great start to the race. Let's have a look at the positions. And as you can see there, basically all the guys at the top that started at the top, they've had the worst starts. Shakes 8 positions down, Quinton 10 positions down, Shane 13 positions down, make that 14. And Buffelsfontein and Quinton both 10, Shakes 8 and Shane 14. Biggest winner in terms of positions gained, that has to go to Akmagozi in the Aston Martin. 7 positions since the start of the race. Dan Rietveld and Convoy as well. 4th and 6th places respectively. Cheddar was lucky to get to that corner first and avoid all of the carnage. He's out in front, 1.1 seconds, so he's already broken DRS. Dan Rietveld now has obviously cleared 80. 80 still in P4. Wants to stay as close as he can to the back of that horse so he can keep on getting DRS. That'll effectively cancel out the DRS for the car behind him. Really needs to stay within DRS of Dan Rietveld. Otherwise, Destroyer might just swamp him. Obviously, just a reminder, this is a sprint race followed by a main race. It will be within the same lobby and there will be no cut in the stream. So when it's time for the main race, you can just stay with us. The lobby and the stream will not change. Same stream. Magozi fighting with Staffy for that final points position, P10. Staffy in the leading Williams. Both Williams outside the points for now. I do apologize, it's not the top 10, it's the top 8 that score points in a sprint race. And that's very easily numbered. 8th place, 1 point. 1st place, 8 points. This is your race leader currently in complete control of proceedings, 2.5 seconds up the road from the next man. That is Convoy, and you can see Cheddar down there in the distance. .3 seconds that gap. Then we've got 3rd place. Ooh, look at this, it's not over yet, and almost contact. Almost contact, but you have to give credit where it's due. Dan Rietveld, he did miss that, but there was almost contact. He's going to have DRS now, is he? He's going to come back at the LP and tries to go around the outside. And he's done so. Wonder if that may have briefly pushed 80 off the track, or maybe just offline. But Dan Rietveld, ooh, and now he gets out of shape badly on the exit. That's going to allow the Alpine to come right back at him into the final corner. He's going to be on his gearbox for the main straight, and surely, if not into turn 1, the very next DRS zone. And Rietveld still just maintaining that gap. Didn't lose too much time because of that terrible exit he got. Almost looked like he was going to crash. Managed to hold on to the car. And he only lost about 2 or 3 tenths. He wasn't really able to capitalize on that mistake. Maybe at the time having traction issues of his own. Shane just giving confirmation there in the comment section. Thanks for letting us know. I suspected that. Because I did see you go backwards into the wall. So Shane confirmed does have... Is it orange? Yes, it's orange. Orange rear wing damage. That car is going to be incredibly difficult to control. But luckily this is a sprint race. Not too long to go, and the main event, where the big points are, is yet to come. Let's go back to the front and see what is happening with the fight for 3rd place. 80 and Dan Rietveld still going at it wheel to wheel. Every second corner they're having another go. Luckily no contact, and now as I say that, commentator's curse coming out of the final corner. Was there contact, or did AD just lose that? Seems like he lost it, but that car was incredibly close, so I'm not sure if there was contact or if he just missed him. But AD will be disappointed coming down now from third place. And because he's rejoined sort of offline, he's been swamped. Down from P3 to P10 in a number of corners. Remember, that is what's so difficult about this game. You can get it perfect lap after lap after lap, but you just need that one mistake and you turn the whole race on its head. Now AD in 10th place, that is out of the points. He has gone past Staffy, so he's claimed 9th. Now he's going to be going after Heno, trying to get himself back into the points, and he does so. Passes him on the outside before arriving at the corner, but he can't slow himself down, and Heno takes the position back, and now Staffy takes the position back. Let's just have a look at that car of AD if we can get a better view of it. I think I saw damage. Yes, there we go. He's missing an end plate. Obviously no point in making a pit stop at this stage, and seems like Cheddar's really got this under control. Is AD coming into the pits? Yes, he's coming into the pits. Doesn't want to deal with that broken wing until the end of the race. Cheddar out front, 4.3 seconds. Convoy P2, also in a little race of his own. Tell you who's not in a race of their own. It's a fight for P3. Top Gun goes around, gets the DRS, gets around Dan Rietveld before the corner. Nicely done. And if he's able to hold on to this top 3, I don't think he's going to be able to find second. Still 8 seconds down the road. To say that Dan Rietveld retakes the position, but now he's on the outside. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? Gets the inside for the next sequence of corners. Fantastic helicopter shots here in sector 3. And that Ferrari seems to just wait in certain parts of the track, not trying to be too attacking, only attacking where it counts. We'll see in this next DRS zone if we're going to see more wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side stuff. We've seen it so much from Dan Rietveld so far. Haas versus Ferrari. Ferrari power versus Ferrari power. And for the time being, if this was really a result over an F1 weekend, I can tell you Ferrari would not be too impressed. Having to fight with everything they have to beat a Haas. I think equal cars are definitely working again. Lap 9 of 10. Race coming to a close now. Now MJ. Don't know what happened there. If that was a glitch, they looked like they were going very slowly. But MJ has got past Nuclear Monkey. Nuclear Monkey now in P6. He's going to be defending from a very hungry AlphaTauri that's trying to make his way back through the field. Shakes in P7. Shane hasn't been able to make up ground. Went down to P16 and stayed there. That's what rear wing damage will do for you. It's going to make the car feel pretty undrivable. Modern F1 cars are all about downforce. And if you're missing a significant amount, you simply can't get the performance out of that car. As things stand, Eno is on for 1 point. So Red Bull will not leave the sprint race empty-handed. Cheddar is now entering sector 3 for the final time. Lap 10 of 10. Do have some penalties. Top Gun, Quinton, Heno and Staffy all with a 3-second penalty, so Heno will definitely lose that 1 point unfortunately, and Red Bull will go home empty-handed after the sprint race. But this is the man so far of the night. Cheddar goes over the line, has enough time to have a bit of a weave, wins the race by 7.6 seconds. Fantastic drive, fantastic start to the night. Are you going to be able to build on that, match that performance in the main race? Dan Ridfeld and Top Gun go over the line now. We wait for Shakes. He has been able to make a lot of progress coming back in this race. It's going to end it in P5. Nuclear Monkey P6. Will Heno get points? He's got that 3-second penalty. No, he doesn't. He falls all the way down from 7th to P11. That's just mean. Williams does land up getting a point. P8. After all the scrambling at the end there. Got a feel for the Alpine driver. Such a strong race in the first 2/3 of the race. Ending the race in P15. And then Shane, unlucky into turn 1. Rounds up your field. If I'm not mistaken, now a custom grid will have to be done, so there will be a bit of a pause in the lobby before we get going. Or do we go straight on in? I'm not quite sure, but there are your positions for the sprint race. Cheddar, he won the race. Fantastic job. 8 points. Then Convoy P2, Dan Ridfeld 3rd, Top Gun P4, Shakes P5, Nuclear Monkey 6, MJ 7, and Pampun picks up the last point. Then we have Destroyer P9, Apmagozi P10, Heno 11, Quinton 12, Bifflesfontein P13, Staffy 14. Then we have AD and Shane P15 and 16. Both of those drivers, I'm sure, were wishing for a much better result. I know I made a mistake with that. Don't worry. I announced that wrong. There is no custom grid. We go straight into the main race. No formation lap that I know of. So shortly we will be underway straight into the main race. Obviously the sprint race was just 10 laps. It's going to be a different race altogether, much longer. Strategy comes into play, pit stops come into play. What tyre do you start on? What do you intend on ending on? We didn't see any safety cars in the sprint race, but if we do in the main race, what effect will they have? Here we go, here are your red lights. Hopefully no problems like we had last night. And no, everybody's underway. Nicely done. Cheddar leads the way. Nice start, but the McLaren gets a better start and he gets into turn 1 first. Convoy leads the way. Cheddar runs a little wide. That's going to allow the Haas to come at him. Dan Ridfeld giving it everything he can, wants to get in front of Cheddar. All the drivers have seen what he can do. Quinton retires from the session. AD retires from the session. Surely that was contact. And safety car. Lap 1 of 29. Apmagozi also out of the session, losing 3 cars in 1 lap. Field is down from 16 to 13. Wonder if all those incidents were related. Seems like AD and Quinton fell down the order at the same time, so I'm guessing that was an incident. but Apmagozi followed suit a few seconds later, so wonder if maybe there was the initial incident and then Apmagozi collected that incident. Someone that's made up positions already started in last place, up to P8. Shane takes advantage out of some of those retirements. Safety car will probably have another lap after this one. Convoy leads the field around. Yet to pick up the safety car, actually. So it may still be a while. Good evening, Visor. Welcome to JPR. Welcome to Friday night. And as you can see by the graphics on your screen, lap 2, we have a safety car and we've lost 3 cars. So action-packed lap 1. Some of these drivers will be hoping it settles down just a little. Hopefully none of those shenanigans at the restart. While the safety car takes us around, I'm just going to take a minute. I'll be back with you now. We are still under safety car and seems like we're going to have another lap of safety car. Lap 3 of 29. Surely at the end of this lap we will see the safety car peeling into the pit lane, so long as nobody causes another crash behind the safety car. At the restart, Convoy is going to have the responsibility of getting these guys going again. Doesn't want to be swamped into turn 1 and have a repeat of the chaos we saw at the start of the race. He's going to want to be able to just get the jump on Dan and make sure he arrives at turn 1 all by himself. Just waiting. We're just waiting now for confirmation that the safety car will come in this lap. Should be getting that shortly as they're going through the middle of sector 2 now. And there we go. Safety car pulling off into the distance. Is it? Are we hitting this lap? So there we go. Now the safety car pulling off into the distance. Convoy letting the safety car get to the pits. so that he can effectively become the temporary safety car. You cannot go until Convoy goes. And if you do get an amazing start, remember you cannot pass the leader before the start-finish line. Here we go, here is the restart. It's not a great restart from Convoy. It loses the back of the car a little bit on the final corner there, just really squirmish. Dan Ritfeld has held on to second. Cheddar up to P3, Shakes P4. Pompun now back into the P5. That's what safety cars can do. Pfizer and Ulrich both in the comment section. Welcome guys, thanks for joining, thanks for watching. Great to see support from the guys even when they're not racing. Just passing by and showing their support, great to see. Here we have Destroyer, I was going to say he's forming a bit of a queue, but that Alpine, that AlphaTauri does... Is it an Alpine or an AlphaTauri? There we go. Too many teams start with the letter A. Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, Alpine, and I'm pretty sure there's another one. At the front of the race, Convoy making the most of his lead, 1.1 seconds. He wants to make sure he stays out of that DRS range. Otherwise, Cheddar will come back at him. We've seen how fast Cheddar can be. We saw it in the sprint race. We saw it in qualifying. And now he's just inches away from being within DRS. And Convoy should have his hands full, or at least his mirrors full, in the next sector or so. Getting a lot of jumping, a lot of lag. Not nice to see. A lot of lag on our screens tonight. If you find yourself in a position where you're in the race and a car starts doing that all around you, it can really put you off. But Convoy now extending that dominance for the night. He's picked up 1.9 seconds, and Cheddar doing what he can, trying to get past Pompun. Pompun up to P2 now, 1.7 seconds off the lead, 1.6, 1.5, so he is catching the leader. McLaren will be weary of that Williams behind getting bigger in its mirrors after every corner. Dan Ritfeld fallen a little bit behind now. The podium positions, falling a 1.5 seconds now adrift from P3. Convoy still leads. Pompun just 1.3 seconds away. His only goal at the moment is to get into DRS. Is that what you guys are doing? You're watching JPR from work. Glad I can provide you some entertainment. It's not really where you want to be on a Friday night. Cheddar still in P2, 9/10 of a second, so he has broken into that DRS, but he's got Pompun all over the back of him as well. So that will be a little bit distracting. It's one thing making that pass for the lead, but when you have to consider the car behind you as well, it can sometimes just make you second guess. And that second guess can sometimes lead to a mistake. No mistake from Cheddar, fastest lap of the race so far, 125.8. He is within the top 10, so that'll be a bonus point if that stays the same. Very much doubt it. As these cars get lighter, these lap times will inevitably come down. $10 p.m. 10 p.m. you get to go home. I have worked almost 9 years of those sort of hours, so I do feel for you. In fact, for 7 years I worked 90 hours a week. Not fun. I prefer to be here in the comms box on a Friday night. Top 3, Alpine, McLaren and a Williams. Cheddar has gotten into the lead, and now Convoy coming all under pressure now. He's going to have to do something pretty amazing if he wants to hold on to P2, because Pampun all over him, and there we go, Pampun up the inside in the final corner. Convoy tried to use all of the racetrack to come back at him, but Pampun was able to close the door, and for now seems like he's got second place under control. McLaren wasn't able to come back at him immediately. Let's see if the McLaren can hold on. Remember, tyres will play a part. Who's on what tyre? That should explain their pace. Doesn't explain the pace of Pampun passing Convoy. They're on exactly the same compound, both of them on a set of softs. Your leader on a set of mediums. We have Staffy and Shane both on a set of hards. Where is Shane? There he is. He's in P12. The second Red Bull in the field. Up the field in P7. Having a good race. Wonder if Shane has picked up any damage this time round. Doesn't seem like it. But he has made an early pit stop. And now picks up a penalty to boot. "22 years of shifts." Well, no, I don't want to do that. I think that means I was like 15 years old when you started that. So, yeah, I don't think I would have made it for 22 years. At the front of the field, Cheddar leads the way. 1.7 seconds. Pampun not far behind. Convoy is still P3, but he is now starting to drop off. His pace is starting to drop off. Let's see, where is Destroyer? P4. Can he make his way back towards that podium, those podium positions? Convoy does seem to be losing time. Will Destroyer be able to make the most of it and catch up to that McLaren? For the time being, Cap just holding steady, 6.6 seconds. And we have another safety car. We have another safety car. When we have these safety cars every 3 or 4 laps, it really makes it impossible to be on the right strategy. Just throws strategies out of the window. I think your tire should be in a really good place, and then you have to come into the pits and get rid of them. None of the drivers that started on hards have stopped under safety car. That seems quite obvious. They are out there on hards. They're going to stay out there to make up some track position because their tires still have a lot of life. I think all the pit stops we're going to see are going to come from the drivers on softer tires. If my voice does sound weird tonight, I apologize. I don't know what's wrong with it. Lap 10, 29. Race is neutralized. Safety car. And as a result of all those pit stops, first and second place, Destroyer and Top Gun both on a set of hards. Pampun seems to be in a really strong position because he's in P3 after the safety car pit stop on a brand new set of mediums. So I think he should have no issues really at the restart getting past the two cars in front of him. Car behind him is Cheddar, and he's also chosen to go into the pits and emerges on a set of hards. Wonder if those mediums are going to be a little bit of a stretch. 18, 19 laps. That's a good question. I didn't know you were here, Apmagozi. Question time. What exactly happened there? Were you part of the incident that involved AD and Quinton, or was it just a coincidence that a few moments later you were out too? Welcome to Jarvis. Nice to see an active comment section. Gives me something to look at when we're behind safety car. Never really been my favorite race circuit, but as a Max Verstappen fan, I now have good memories of this place. I do apologize if anybody who is watching is a Mercedes fan. I just said I was happy about Red Bull. I didn't say anything bad about Mercedes, so calm down. Nuclear Monkey becomes the newest retirement, and that's an odd one because there he is. He's in the middle of the track. Seems like the car has just come to a standstill. Not sure what happened there, but when we saw him, he was just in the middle of the circuit. He's now disappeared from the circuit, as has all the carbon fiber there. So 4 DNFs for the night. McLaren driver Nuclear Monkey becomes the newest retiree. I think that's a word, retiree. Shane at the back of the field on a brand new set of softs. He knows what he needs to do. There we go, Magozi. There's confirmation. I actually mentioned it on the stream. I thought that was what happened. Those two had an incident, and then you collected the incident. Some support for Shane in the comment section. Let's go, Shane. Currently P12. He's going to have that brand new set of softs. The only man on the circuit with a set of softs. I think what he might be hoping for is to come through the field on a set of softs and possibly get another safety car. Don't think will he be able to finish the race on a set of softs? Seems risky. No one else has tried. Destroyer leads the way from Top Gun. Pampun P3. Convoy P4. Cheddar now down to P5. And we see, damn, the timing screen was blocking it, but I saw carbon fiber flying up into the air, so, and there we go, Top Gun, another retiree. There, I said it again, retiree. I need to stop saying that word. I don't even know if it's a real word, but Top Gun, another DNF tonight. 5 drivers joined that column. It's really frustrating when you have this amount of safety cars. Obviously Shane would have come in, got that fresh set of softs, and his plan would have been to come through the field. Now he's just doing unnecessarily slow laps behind the safety car, probably wasting the prime laps of that soft. Now a whole bunch of cars come into the pits, and one of those cars is Shane, so he's going to dispose of that soft tyre. Will he go the medium? Will he go the hard? It's the medium yellow wall tyre to the end of the race, surely. And he is going to make up a few positions as a result of the pit stops. See, we're having a bit of a Verstappen-Perez debate. Helmut Marko almost got into a whole lot of trouble, and I think if he was anyone else, he would have got into a whole lot of trouble, but Helmut Marko doesn't really care about those things. Basically, Helmut Marko said that Sergio probably couldn't keep up with Max Verstappen because he was Mexican and drank a lot of tequila. Social media did not like that one. We still have some extremely quick drivers right at the back of the field. So I think we could see a very interesting race still. We're not even at halfway distance. Ulrich, speaking of those, while we're under safety car, we might as well talk a bit of rubbish, but speaking of those 2 drivers, what do you make of a team with Logan Sargent and Mazepin as teammates? I think that could be interesting. Then why not bring back Pastor Maldonado to lead that team? Another lap under safety car. We're on lap 14 now. Just under 50% distance. Well, I suppose it's 25, but the race is 50, but I don't know, I'm confusing myself. Too many safety cars. I start talking rubbish, and then I confuse myself. Again, 5 cars have retired. Started with 16, we're down to 11. Guys, give your predictions now. What do you guys think in terms of a winner? What are your guys' predictions, or a podium prediction? Give a podium prediction. Let's have a look. Fastest lap of the race so far. Safety car in this lap, there's confirmation. Fastest lap of the race so far, 25.8. And that was by the man in P3. There we can see safety car now going off into the distance. Destroyer picks up the responsibility of the safety car, and it's his decision when to go. All have to follow whatever the Alfa Romeo decides to do. Most important part, if you're in P2, don't let him get the jump on you. And here we go, we're underway again, lap 15 of 29, and we're under green flag again. Let's see. Into turn 1, do we have any drama? We have a horse going up the inside of a Red Bull. That's Dan Rietveld up 1 position to P5. Everybody else in the field staying in position at that restart. Now Destroyer coming under pressure from Pampun. Up the inside is the Williams driver, and he's going to allow Cheddar to come up the inside as well. Destroyer getting well offline, running wide, letting 2 cars go. From P1 down to P3 in 1 corner. Your new leader, Pampun, now defends from Cheddar. Cheddar gets in front ever so briefly. Millimeter stuff, and now there has been just a little bit of contact. Don't think there's any damage, no damage. That will just have put that Alpine off a little. Look at that. What a result that would be. 2 Williams in the top 3. Just a brief look at the ERS of your 2 leaders, and they pretty much have the exact same energy left. Can be so tempting sometimes when you're out in front. You want to use that ERS to try and break the DRS, and sometimes what happens is you use it. It's not an advantage because the driver behind you manages to hold on, and then when DRS does become active, your battery's completely depleted and you stand no chance. Obviously the only team tonight so far to have lost both their cars is the Aston Martin team. Seen Shane has also retired, down to just 10 cars. Finishing the race means you're going to get some points here in round 3 of season 8. Back at the front, Pampun leads the way, and he'll be doing all he can to keep the result that way, but things are going to become a little bit more difficult. Cheddar has now set the fastest lap of the race once again, beating his previous best, and Pampun doing just enough to keep that gap just above a second. And look at that, in contrast, the battery's now looking very different after a lap. These two really pushing each other at the front. Yeah, absolutely. Just keep your car in a straight line, finish the race, and you will pick up points from round 3. Battle for the lead at the moment would have to be Pampun and Cheddar, but Pampun doing enough for the time being. 1.4 seconds is the gap, and he'll be looking to keep it above a second for as long as possible. Remember, Pampun has a set of mediums, Cheddar has a set of hards. Already 7 laps on each of those sets, 8 laps on each of those sets. So by the time we get to the end of the race, those mediums will probably be screaming just a little. Need to do your tyre management, and it's difficult to do tyre management when somebody's chasing you down the road. But Cheddar now has dropped off quite substantially. Does he have damage on that car? 2.9 seconds up the road, all of a sudden Pampun out in the lead, 3 seconds ahead. I think these next few laps will be crucial for that lead. Williams needs to build that gap as much as possible. Those mediums will fall off towards the end of the race, and he's going to need a very healthy cushion if he hopes to hold on to that lead on aging mediums. And there we go. Thank you, comment section. Thank you, comment section. Usually it's called a commentator's curse. This time it's called a comment section curse. Somebody asking for a safety car, and just as I was about to read the message out loud, I looked at my screen and there we go. We've got a safety car. Shakes gets a 5-second penalty now for ignoring blue flags. Cannot serve that penalty until after the safety car. And Pampun gets exactly what he needs. Gets a pit stop to get rid of those mediums that were going to come back to bite him at the end of the race, and now he's emerging from the pit lane on a brand new set of softs for the final 10 laps here at Yas Marina. What a interesting night it would be if that order remained exactly the same. A Williams 1-2. Obviously Williams is a fantastic team. They have had a bit of a slump in the past few years, and it's great to see them going in the right direction now. But a team that absolutely dominated F1 in the 90s. 5 Constructors' Championships and 4 Drivers' Championships. One team winning 4 Drivers' Championships in a decade, and all of those champions were different drivers. Can't actually think of a Williams double champion. If there is a Williams double champion, it's in the 80s, and I don't know F1 in the 80s. Just thanks for pointing that out. Staffy does have a 3-second time penalty. That was at least the last time I checked. Yes, still 3 seconds. And now with the safety car bringing the entire field together, those penalties can throw you down this list very quickly. Shakes, Dan Ritfeldt and Conboy all in the pits. Who was the driver that had the 5-second penalty? Seems like that penalty is gone. Suppose you can serve your penalty under safety car, but you can't do a drive-through under safety car. Cheddar will have that exact information on his screen. He'll know the car ahead of him has a penalty. Might not know by how much, but he knows there's a penalty there, so if he just stays on the tail of that car, he will gain that position. But he's not going to be happy with that. He's going to want to get past Staffy as early as possible, so he can chase Pampun. At least odds have been evened. Cheddar will be on a brand new set of softs. Pampun will be on a brand new set of softs, so he doesn't need to worry about aging mediums anymore. Safety car confirmation in this lap. There we go, the Williams almost side by side here at the restart, and the Alpine. Pampun is going to have to get a real good jump here, not to get swamped. When does he go? Just going to wait for that safety car, obviously, to enter the pit entry. And the safety car has done so. So this is effectively your safety car. Pampun will decide when it's time to go. We ride with Staffy. Let's ride with Cheddar. So we can keep an eye on the two Williams ahead of us at the restart. Here we go. Green flag over the line. Into turn one, and no madness so far into turn one. Got really close to Staffy. He's going to get the better drive. Just be patient. There's a long straight coming. There we go, and no patience shown by Cheddar. He wants to get by, and he wants to get by now. Staffy down to P3, and remember, he does have those penalties. Cheddar now up into P2. Just behind your leader. Remember, the top two have exactly the same tyre set. 2 laps old, same compound. So it's going to be odds even over who takes this race. Now Staffy loses another position down to P4 on what is also some aging mediums. If he's going to go to the end of the race on those mediums, they're going to be about 20 laps old. The Mercedes of Buffelsfontein, currently P3, doing his best to close that gap, chase down the top two. And speaking of the top two, look at this. Battle for the lead. Pampun, Cheddar, 0.2 of a second is the gap between the two of them. Now they're going to get a big DRS straight, and Cheddar should not have an issue here if he's got any battery at all. He does. Will he use any? Chooses to try a little later. Stay on the gearbox of that Williams. If any mistake does come, you need to be close enough to capitalize, but not close enough to run into the back of that car. Safi continues to go in the direction he wouldn't like. Now in P6 we've had more retirements. I said all you needed to do, folks, is keep the car in a straight line and get to the end, and you'd pick up points. Well, even if you finish last, it's good enough for 8th place. So everyone who's still in this race, some really good points available tonight. And they're not going to have long out on circuit after this safety car. We're on lap 23 of 29, just 6 laps to go. Probably 2 of those laps will be under the safety car, not at racing speed. That should give us a 4 or 5 lap shootout at the end. And there we go, we see a whole handful of cars also going into the pits. Probably if you do have a fresh set of softs now, an extra set of softs that you haven't used so far, this is the time to put them on and just give it everything. This final stint of the race will be less than half distance of a sprint race. All 8 cars that are still out there, all on a set of softs. Pampun is your leader. Cheddar P2. Buffelsfontein P3, Destroyer P4 and Heno P5. All of those drivers are on softs, 4 laps old. And then we have Dan Rietveld, Staffy and Shakes on brand new sets of softs. Wonder if that slight difference in tyre age will make a difference in 6 laps from now. We still have what appears to be an Alpha Tauri trying to catch up to the rest of the field. So we're going to have another lap under safety car. We've got a penalty for Heno. Not sure if that was for speeding. Let's just have a look. Up to 8 seconds. He was on 3, so that was a 5-second penalty. I assume speeding under safety car or overtaking under safety car. I'm not sure. But that's going to put a big dent in his result tonight. Just a few laps to go. When the safety car does come in, it's going to be very difficult to try and open up an 8-second gap to cancel out those penalties. Currently in sector 2 and waiting for some form of confirmation that the safety car will disappear this lap. If that's the case, we'll have 4 laps to go. Just because it's going to be a short restart, let's not do it like an online 5-lapper, guys. Let's keep it together. Half the field is retired. 8 cars on track, 8 have DNF'd, and hopefully we'll get to the end of the race with still 8 cars on the track. Safety car in this lap. Seems like every time we've had a safety car restart, we've had a new leader. Get ready now for yet another safety car restart. This time it will be managed by Pampun. As you can see there, Cheddar looking very hungry. So if you did retire tonight, don't feel too bad. Another 7 drivers did too. There's that penalties column, 8 seconds for Heno. That's going to really hurt him at the end of the race. Pampun leads the way from Cheddar. Nothing in that gap at all. They'll be waiting for DRS to come back online. Pampun will be hoping DRS doesn't come back online. Hoping for a DRS failure from the car at the back. Cheddar still P2. Buffelsfontein still P3, and he's had a fantastic race. He's actually made up 10 positions since the start of the race. Other impressive drives have to be Pampun picking up 7 positions, now in the lead of the race. And Staffy, also 7 positions since the start of the race. Staffy does have a penalty, but so do the cars in front and behind him. That shouldn't affect the final result. In fact, he's got 6 seconds. Lap 26 to 29, 3 laps to go. Sometimes you're approaching the line and you're like, oh wow, I'm in P5, P6, this is going to be a good result. And then you remember the penalties column and you go, oh no. I had one race, it was pretty close. I was in P6 when I went over the line and it threw me down to P13 for my 6 seconds worth of penalties. Pampun and Cheddar now getting intimately close there. I think the cars made a little contact, maybe more of just a little brush, but that has put Cheddar off slightly and that's thrown him into the arms of Buffelsfontein. And the top 3 yet to be decided with 2.5 laps to go. Pampun still leading from Cheddar. Will he be able to hold that, and for how much longer will he be able to hold that? There's a message on the top of your screens that says DRS is enabled. So I think defending that lead is going to become a lot more difficult. And why is Pampun stopped on the circuit? Luckily we're so late into the race we won't get a safety car this time, but Pampun down to P6. And unless Buffelsfontein can do something about it, this race may have just been handed on a silver platter to Cheddar. And what perfect night. Pole position, sprint race, and now leading the race with 2 laps to go. That is a Max Verstappen type of weekend. The current order is Cheddar, Buffelsfontein, Destroyer, Shakes, then Dan Redfeld, Staffy, Pampun and Henno, but those last 4 names I read out all have penalties to their names, and I'm sure there's still going to be changes up and down the order. Your top 4 do not have penalties, so they should finish in the order you see. And as I say that, now just 3 drivers left on track without penalties. Shake's adding a penalty to his name. I believe Pampun has picked up a 5-second penalty now for speeding in the pit lane. But he knows he just needs to come out of the pits, do a lap, and pick up the points for Williams. Again, the only team with a double finish tonight. Considering these cars can go around for another 2 laps, will be Williams. Good performance by them, getting obviously in the points, and both finishing on the night. So many retirements, both Ferraris, both McLarens, 1 Red Bull, both Aston Martins, and an Alpine. Cheddar seems to be in control in the latter stages of this race now. 1.9 seconds is the gap. Destroyer P3, and I don't think we're going to see a change in these top 3 positions. Remember, everyone off that podium step does have some form of penalty. But on lap 29 of 29, this guy here, Cheddar, he's had all the right answers at all the right times. Took pole position, quite a nice margin may I add, then won the sprint race, and now he could win the main race by a relatively comfortable gap. There we go, just a few more corners to go, folks. We're into Sector 3. The leader is into Sector 3. That's Cheddar. And that gap now just 2.7. I think Biffles has settled for second. Destroyer doesn't look like he's gonna get involved in a battle for second. So I think your top 3 will be your top 3 in this order. Cheddar goes over the line. And I believe he also has the fastest lap. Maximum points for the Alpine driver here in round 3. In the meantime, Buffelsfontein went over the line in P2, Destroyer P3, that is your podium. Shakes P4, Dan Rietveld P5, Staffy P6, Heno P7. And I believe we're just waiting for the last car now over the line. Few corners to go for him. Real up and down race. Looked like he was going to win it at one stage, but now he's going to come over the line in 8th place. And just pick himself up. A handful of points to go with the points. His teammate just ahead of him picked up. And there we go. That's what a backwards finish looks like. I think that probably mirrors the way he feels about that result. Driver of the day goes to Buffelsfontein. And now we simply wait for the final standings. And there we go, nicely done. A total of 34 points on the night for Cheddar. He finished P1 in the feature race. There we go, let's just bring that up. Feature race, Cheddar P1, Buffelsfontein P2, Destroyer P3, that's your podium. Then you have Shakes in P4, Dan Rietveld 5th, Staffy 6, Heno 7, and Pampun making up your field in 8th place. Then we start the long column of retirements. MJ, Conboy, Shane, Top Gun, Nuclear Monkey, Apmagozi, AD, and Quinton, all failing to reach the finish line. There we go, we have reached the end of round 3. Thank you very much for joining me on the stream. If you did, thank you very much. If you're going to watch this later on in the week, and we'll be back with you next week Friday, same time. See you then, guys.